True commitment versus false commitment. When the shell becomes more dangerous than the roots. During my long journey of reflection, I came across a phenomenon worthy of reflection. Why do some born Muslims become weaker in faith than those who have recently converted to Islam? I have seen the new convert enter this religion with conviction like a root that sinks deep into the ground, his commitment becoming an unshakable rock, and his actions springing from a united mind and heart. While we find many who were raised with Islam from infancy, with the vicissitudes of time and societal influences, they hold a faith as fragile as a delicate glass, shattered by the slightest shock. As a result, they are easily led astray and prone to missteps. The secret behind this astonishing paradox is simple. The newly converted Muslim entered Islam through its grandest door. He first understood the truth of there is no God but God, and his faith was founded on the rock of monotheism. Then the obligations were as light as pure water for him. As for the Muslim who has inherited his heritage, he was often raised in a reversed upbringing. He learned the movements of prayer before he knew why he prayed, and he memorized the boundaries of what is permissible and what is forbidden without asking about God's wisdom in them. Add to this an environment that besieges its authenticity, a family that mixes customs with faith, a society that sanctifies secularism, and a media that distorts the image of religion. Generations have emerged with empty hearts, easily swayed by every wave. From this poisoned soil grow two evil plants, false commitment and false doctrine. The first is the hollow tree of appearances, a person who wears the garment of piety and shows prayer and worship, but inside he is like a ruined house. No sooner does he experience a trial or a temptation than he suddenly turns back like an embroidered garment, casting off the cloak of piety and falling into the swamp of injustice and bad manners. He may even openly commit sins and disregard people's rights, as if his years of religious devotion were merely a dream. The second tree is the most deadly, arbitrary extremism. Here, religion turns into a sword hanging over people's necks. A person whose emotions boil over and overwhelm his mind, turning him into a ticking time bomb, accusing people of disbelief for the most trivial reasons, taking bloodshed lightly, and driving a wedge between Muslims and their brothers. Both of these plants, the deceptive outward appearance and the extremist excommunicator, become weapons that tear apart the body of the Ummah and present a distorted image of Islam. The world will then assume that our religion is one of violence and no mercy. If we were to ask, why has the situation reached this point? The reason is clear. This generation has forgotten that true faith begins from within. The doctrine of monotheism has not been built in their hearts, as the Prophet did in his companions, each of whom would say, "By God, if the veil were lifted for me, I would not become more certain." They offered the bark over the roots, but when the storms of life blew, the tree fell from its foundation. Healing does not require miracles, but rather rebuilding from the foundation. Let us begin by planting faith in the minds before teaching judgments. Let us strike a balance between the emotions of the heart and the wisdom of the mind. Let us follow the example of the messenger of God, who used to say to Mu'adh, "Shall I not teach you some words to say after every prayer? O Lord, help me to remember you, to thank you, and to worship you properly." He taught them the essence of faith before its form. And remember the words of God. Indeed, God will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. Change begins within each one of us. When we reform ourselves, we reform our families, then our communities, and then the entire nation. Only then will we return to the truth of the prophetic hadith. The believers are like one body in their mutual love and compassion. So don't be deceived by appearances and don't despair over the obstacles along the way. True faith is what creates a balanced person, strong in his principles, compassionate in his dealings, steadfast as a mountain in the face of temptations, and gentle as a branch toward others. False commitment, on the other hand, is a mirage that first deceives its possessor, then turns against him and causes disaster, destroying himself and his community. Build your faith from within, and it will be a light to illuminate your path and the path of those around you.